17% behind you.
Roger.
Can't.
Then just go for the 20s and above, but...
Hi, it's 975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One, and today I'm bringing you some PvP piracy that went wrong for all parties concerned in every which way possible. So the idea was slip into the rings, follow that python around, and after a while rob him. He'd be completely oblivious that I was there because I'm running silently and I'm so super cool and no one's going to spot me. Apart from when as soon as I drop in, he's flying straight out where I drop out and circles me and gets a good look at me. So I was like, well, that's blown, I'm just going to leave. But he carried on mining, so I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I sent him some helpful tips, telling him to get more limpets, and I stalked him like a creeper for a while, waiting for him to get enough cargo for me to actually demand some of it. This is part of stealth piracy that is a bit weird, but you end up following somebody for a while, waiting for them to fill up their cargo hold enough to make it worth you robbing them. So yeah, I sat hidden away, close by, keeping an eye on my guy, waiting for him to fill up his cargo hold enough. And yeah, it's quite good fun doing this. It's quite weird being sort of like sneaky, and even though I'd already been spotted, once he'd flown off and started mining, I don't think he was aware that I was still around. I think he thought at this point that I'd gone off to do something else, as I'm not going to show up on his radar and I'm hidden behind rocks, just happily watching him mine. He actually seemed to be doing okay, which is good, because sometimes you follow a guy and he has no clue how to mine, doesn't even go to the right place in the rings, and you end up having to message them loads of advice and help. Something we've been doing quite a lot of in this stealth piracy in Boran is sending people messages on how to go mining, so we can let them fill their cargo holds up quicker. So anyway, I'm going to skip forward a bit.
20 minutes later.
This one after.
So after giving him 20 minutes to fill up his cargo hold, I sent my message asking for 5 diamonds. I think I'm reasonably polite. If you read the message, you'll see what I mean. And I proceed with my piracy move, at which point his shields drop. So I think I caused a fair amount of panic with that message, which is quite funny. It was later that I found out how newbie he was. You don't expect people to be in a python to be that newbie. I know he's mostly harmless, but you come across mostly harmless combat rank quite often, but they're something else in trader. I mean, I've come across mostly harmless commanders in Shinny who are elite in trading, but mostly harmless in combat. Some people don't want to ever partake in combat, and I don't blame them. But, I found out later this guy was very, very newbie. I sent him all the messages in the world, I was polite as anything, but he still elected to run, even though his shields had gone down and just come back up. Now, my ship's loaded for bear. It's designed to take out cutters. It's got 2 large torpedo racks, so 8 reverberating cascade torpedoes, a large beam laser with thermal vent, and 2 missile racks. And so I proceeded to take his drives down with the missile racks. Unfortunately, my missiles were a bit damaging on his hull, and he ended up on a lower hull percentage than I really wanted to leave someone on. But I did take his drives out, and it was at that point that I actually thought he menu logged. Watching the footage back, it's quite clear what happened, but because I disabled his drives and then I sent out a hatchbreaker limpet which returned some cargo, and then I looked up and the ship was gone, I thought that he'd menu logged on me, which is something that I'm seeing a lot from a lot of miners, and it's kind of like the standard play now. They either combat log or menu log. But my limpet did return some cargo, so clearly it wasn't a combat log, because if it's a combat log your limpet doesn't work at all. But it turned out that he self-destructed. Now looking back at the footage, I can see at what point he self-destructed, because his shield stopped charging up and his hull percentage starts dropping. But I was too far away from him to get the audible warning about him self-destructing, which is why I later assumed incorrectly that he was someone who menu logged. So because he self-destructed, costing himself 21 million credits, and because I felt guilty about the whole affair, and especially the fact that I claimed that he had menu logged on me erroneously, I kind of felt mean. So I decided to make up for it with him, and I I quite happily included him in a wing mission that I did. I sent him a couple of messages over the course of the next week. Every time I'd like stacked up some wing missions that I was willing to share out, and offered him a wing invite. And in the end, he managed to be on at the same time as me, and we managed to get a wing mission done. And he got his money back, plus some more. So I'm quite glad that I was able to make it up to this guy, because I do respect someone who self-destructs to avoid destruction. That's kind of something I respect. Way better. I respect that way more than I respect anyone who menu logs. But anyway, that's all for this video. I'll leave you with his final message and say that's all. Thank you very much for watching.